My name is Mal Fleming. I am here to assist in your passage. Can you remember your name and the circumstances of your death?
My name is Mrs. Augustus Dotson, formerly Mrs. Charles Dotson. As for the circumstances of my death, if I may say, Mr. Fleming, that is quite a direct question.
Of course, Mrs. Dotson. Please take all the time you need. And I have researched your untimely end, as it were. A sudden illness, and only a few weeks after your daughter's carriage accident. My heartfelt condolences.
Ah, yes, a tragedy. Though one must be accustomed to that here in Greybriar. And I do appreciate your assistance in my passage. How very kind of you. Though your assistance is not needed, as I am more than content as I wait for my companions to accompany said passage.
Who are the companions you're waiting for, if I may ask?
You may. I'm more than happy to answer any question you wish to ask, Mr. Fleming, though I do hope you will remember decency and propriety. I hate to call attention, but your predecessor, and I do not wish to speak ill of him, as I am certain he was doing his job to the best of his abilities, but I will point out that he was slightly rustic, a working man, a dependable sort, and of course, they have their place, and I have always made a point to treat those of lower station with grace and patience, but perhaps Mr. Caldwell was ill-suited to the more delicate aspects of his station.
Well, I wouldn't want to speak ill of Mr. Caldwell.
And that is to your credit, Mr. Fleming. Bridget mentioned that you are something of a historian. Which university did you study at?
Syracuse, undergrad and grad school.
A wonderful choice for your situation, I'm sure.
Thank you. You mentioned you were waiting for companions.
Oh, yes, thank you for bringing us back. Mr. Dotson would always say that having a conversation with me was like talking to an uncaged parakeet. You never knew where it would fly about. A very jovial man. And yes, I would hate to move on to my reward without the aforementioned Mr. Dotson, my daughter, Caroline, and perhaps my dear friend, Mr. Ashforth. A bachelor, you know, and if he was unable to remedy that situation before his passing, it would be good manners to make sure he's not lacking company.
Understood. Though, and I apologize if you've been asked this before, but I wonder if your husband, daughter, and friend, if they've already passed on and are waiting for you to follow them.
Yes, Mr. Caldwell did ask me that, and I told him that I found the idea preposterous. They are simply wandering, and when they find their way back to the Dotson plots, I will be waiting to accompany them to our just reward.
Have you perhaps thought of looking for them?
And leave the Dotson plots? How would they find me otherwise? I belong in my mausoleum, Mr. Fleming. While I was alive, I made quite sure it was built to my liking, and I am pleased to report that my efforts have been rewarded. Have you visited the mausoleum, Mr. Fleming?
Yes, the stained glass really is quite something.
Archangel Michael. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil, and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world, he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Quote by God. Stained glass by Tiffany. The effigy is quite faded, though. One cannot have everything. They open up the mausoleum once a year to visitors. I don't believe that was part of the contract with Greybriar, though perhaps it is educational for the less fortunate classes to experience culture and refinement. Charity is a virtue, after all.
It really is quite an extraordinary structure.
Isn't it? And so well maintained. Of course, we have our dear Bridget to thank for that. What a capable girl. One would be lost without experienced help.
Yes, Bridget.
And of course, Bridget being her actual name makes it very easy to remember. I'm sure I've called quite a few girls Bridget when my memory failed, regardless of the name her parents gave her. Though you can't blame me. One goes through staff so quickly here, girls always leaving to work in a department store or get married, not like Europe.
How large was your household staff, if you don't mind me asking a historian's curiosity?
Oh, we were not nearly as fortunate as a family like the Astors or the Vanderbilts, nor were we some shoddyites come lately upon the scene. Our household staff was never more than 20.
And Bridget is the only one that's accompanied you in your time at Greybriar?
Quite a loyal girl, a tribute to her Irish stock. I suppose my daughter and I did show her kindness when we were alive, and you know how small gestures are ever so much appreciated by the lower classes. Why, I always had her accompany me shopping at A.T. Stewart's. My daughter never would, apparently felt unseemly having someone carry her shopping. What odd notions she had. But Caroline would always rely on her to do her hair and tighten her corset. No one was better at a task like that. What a helpful creature. Never once a word of complaint. And I'm not one to ignore the work of the domestic help. A good household cannot function without it.
She did mention how beautiful some of it was.
Yes, of course. Do you know the name Charles Frederick Worth?
I don't think...
It's quite all right, Mr. Fleming. Dressmakers' names do not exactly ring out through history, especially for one who seems, and I believe you will forgive me for saying this, admirably unconcerned with his appearance. I'm sure you have much better uses of your time than considering how you present yourself to the world. Is that a smoking jacket, if I may ask?
Oh, well, I wanted to look. I actually thrifted this,
How
so...
curious it is to think how fashion has changed while I have resided in Greybriar. Style was far more rigid in my time. Why, if you had tried to get a table at Delmonico's dressed like that, you would be tossed bodily as if you had worn nothing at all.
I will make a note of that if I ever go to Delmonico's. You mentioned Charles Worth?
Oh, yes, of course. Remember, like talking to a parakeet, Charles Frederick Worth. Englishman who lived in Paris. His dresses were simply beyond compare. Back then, you had to go to Paris if you wanted anything of quality. Madame Osborne did respectable work, of course, but sadly lacking next to the coteries of France. When you went to his shop, and what a lovely outing it was, champagne and canapes served as you examined the ball gowns and evening dresses. You would select the cut and fabric you most desired, your measurements would be taken, and the finished set would be delivered to your New York residence, all in a large box, the bodices stuffed with tissue paper so nothing would compress, each dress paired with a small piece of the fabric from which it was made, so that a shoemaker, in my case, Madame Holland, could fashion a matching slipper. And when the trunk arrived, why, Bridget was the one to unpack it all and place it into my closets. Work, of course, but one can only imagine what a large distance it must have been from some poor village in Ireland to Fifth Avenue, feeling the fine fabric that Charles Frederick Worth had designed in one's own coarse hands. Why, it must have been something.
Yes. It must have been something. Though, I do wonder, and I apologize for suggesting this, but it is my job, would you be open to perhaps letting go of Bridget? If you're not inclined to pass on yourself, I'm sure Bridget would love to...
Oh, Mr. Fleming, I couldn't possibly. Finding good help was difficult while I was alive, and it certainly hasn't gotten any easier in my time at Greybriar.
Understood. I did have to ask.
And I'm sure the work you do is very useful. It is getting a bit crowded in the Greybriar, and not everyone has purchased a mausoleum, after all.
I would love to assist in your search for your companions, if that would be helpful.
How very kind of you, though
It's quite all right, Mrs. Dotson. I'm more than happy to help. Could I ask you about your daughter? She was quite young when she died. That must have been so difficult. I'm sorry.
Yes, dear Caroline, only 17, so spirited. A true beauty, everyone said so. Nothing like myself at her age. About to make her debut, and that was the entire reason one had to be part of a society after all. If one's daughter didn't have a proper debut, then what hope was there of finding an appropriate gentleman? Caroline had little use for it, of course. To her, the quadrille was far too slow. She would tell me she couldn't move in an evening gown, and I would tell her that wasn't exactly the point, now was it, dear? Do you know that she wanted to move out of the house on Fifth Avenue? Take some of her allowance and move into a French flat? Quite beyond the scandal of living alone. Imagine living in an apartment, like living on a shelf, as Mrs. Astor says. Had her heart set on it, though.
She sounds like a remarkable young woman.
What a charitable way of looking at her, Mr. Fleming.
She died in a carriage accident?
Yes, a tragedy. On her way to shop at the Lady's Mile. I believe she was looking for a fan, A friend of hers had a beautiful specimen, purple lace leaf with ivory sticks, gilded, of course, and when one folded it, why, the initials of the owner would appear. Caroline wanted one for herself, and she never came back. One cannot blame the driver. Mr. Marley was filling in for our regular coachman, who had taken ill. The horses were spooked, and a tragedy.
Quite. Bridget was there too, wasn't she?
Oh, yes, a tragedy for her as well. Hopefully her family was taken care of. Mr. Ashforth had a way of remembering the little things like that.
And your husband, Mr. Charles Dotson?
Oh, a heart attack when Caroline was but an infant. A jovial man with prodigious appetites. His doctors tried talking to him about his diet, but he would never listen. Too many lobsters in Newburgh at Delmonico's, poor man. I really do think he would have been a good father, and Caroline could have certainly used a stern influence. I was far too accommodating with her. But he made sure that we were well taken care of. Some gentlemen act under the presumption that they will live forever and simply do not plan for their family's future. Caroline and I had a very comfortable life after his untimely passing, and he made certain we had wise counsel. I was never much for financial or legal matters.
And this wise counsel, that was Mr. Ashforth, correct?
Why, yes, the executor of my husband's estate, our advisor on all things related to said estate, and eventually a cherished friend.
And how did he die?
I simply have no idea, as I passed away before he did. I suppose he could still be living, though he would be approaching 200 years, and that feels a bit unlikely, does it not?
From my research, it does appear he died of old age, though, in the 1930s.
Ah, I suppose that was to be expected. It appears as though...
Could you tell me about the nature of your relationship with Mr. Ashforth?
Mr. Fleming.
Oh, just another historian's curiosity.
Mr. Fleming. I'm aware that mores and customs have changed quite a bit since the beginning of my residence at Greybriar. However, I will say that regardless of whether in my time or yours, that strikes me as a deeply impertinent question, bordering on rude.
My apologies. As you say, customs have progressed.
An interesting definition of progress.
It's just that, and my apologies for stating it, but as you said, customs and mores have changed. So it might just be something I don't understand, but it feels a bit strange to me to be waiting for your husband, your daughter, and then a lawyer you happen to be on good terms with. I don't know, perhaps
Mr. Fleming, Mr. Ashforth was a gentleman, a talented lawyer, and a dear friend, whose advice I relied on in my time as a widow. I will ask you to speak nothing further of the matter.
Understood. Circling back, though, how did you die?
Mr. Fleming.
It's a direct question. I know. Hopefully, you'll find it in your heart to forgive me. Customs and mores really have changed. And I didn't grow up in the same social set as, well, not your descendants, but the descendants of your contemporaries. Probably lower upper middle class, to quote Orwell. Anyway, how did you die? The obituary just says peacefully, but didn't really go into specifics. They didn't really do that back then, not for a woman of your social strata. So, can you remember the circumstances of your death?
It was quite sudden, Mr. Fleming. I'm afraid I don't remember the specifics.
Really? You can't try to think a bit harder, maybe?
Mr. Fleming, if I am to be interrogated with questions like these, I simply do not see the reason to continue our conversation.
You're welcome to leave at any time. Of course, it's just, I've got a theory.
Really, Mr. Fleming? And what does your theory pertain to?
Because I know that Bridget didn't die in a carriage accident, and if that's true, then I'm pretty sure that Caroline didn't die in a carriage accident either. And if that's true, then the question of how the hell did they die sort of comes up.
Mr. Fleming, I would ask you not to use profanity.
Apologies. Still, it's messed up, I guess you could say that.
And why do you think that Bridget did not die in a carriage accident? I can assure you she did.
Well, she told me.
And you take her word over mine? Bridget is a dependable servant, and I think highly of her, but death is a difficult event. I'm sure she's merely indulging in flights of fancy. One can never rely on a servant girl to have 2 feet firmly planted on the ground.
I guess that's a good point. It's just, you said yourself that Caroline never took Bridget shopping. So why were they in the carriage together?
I suppose.
My first instinct was secret lovers.
Mr. Fleming.
Just because that would be an incredible story. Pre-Stonewall, queer history is super important and not well documented at all, but that didn't quite make sense. Bridget probably would have told me about it. She's a woman of her time, but she's direct, and I don't know. If they loved each other, I'd hope that they would have either found each other as spirits or passed on together. Maybe I'm just being romantic. And the obituary was so vague, even for the time, so it felt to me like it was staged, like someone beat them to death, paid off a reliable servant to drive the carriage, and the wounds would be consistent, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. You tell me.
Are you quite finished, Mr. Fleming?
I don't know. Do you have anything to say in response?
Mr. Fleming, I have absolutely no idea how to respond to such a preposterous string of conjecture, cruelty, and outright falsehoods, so I will simply say nothing at all.
Understood.
And if you have nothing of import to add, I believe I will be bidding you a good day, Mr. Fleming.
Once again, you're welcome to leave, Mrs. Dotson. It's just...
Yes?
When I started the conversation, I wasn't sure you were involved. I was thinking that it could have been just Ashworth, that you were too dim to see it, maybe even something else. Who knows? But talking to you, and maybe this is just my own bias, I just have a feeling. It was you, right? Maybe working
I did not murder my daughter, Mr. Fleming.
Right.
Mr. Ashworth may have taken some offhand comments of mine as instructions. However, you must understand Mr. Ashworth was blinded by his deep affection for me, and Caroline had... Why, she had taken advantage of Mr. Ashworth. She told him that she would go to the papers, make up lies about his character, about our relationship. Bridget may not remember this, poor girl that she is, but she was the one who first attacked Mr. Ashworth out of some misguided instinct to protect Caroline. Both the girls were simply, well, they tripped. They hit their heads. And Mr. Ashworth told me it was quite a scene.
I'm sure.
I don't appreciate your tone, Mr. Fleming. And now, if you will excuse me, I must return to my mausoleum. I do not expect I will come if you call again. I must say, though Mr. Caldwell may have been of a lower class, his character was certainly of a higher quality than yours, Mr. Fleming.
I sincerely apologize for any impropriety, or, whatever you'd call it. Just one question before you go. Won't take a minute. So, when I write about this, should I imply that you knew that you were poisoned by Mr. Ashworth, or that it was, a surprise?
Excuse me?
I mean, it's an interesting situation. It's not like it would be breaking news, but I could write a fun little blog post for Greybriar, get it picked up in places like Atlas Obscura. People love true crime, and this is over 100 years ago, so nobody has to feel bad about it. It's not even gossip. It's history. Educational, Fun story. People would talk. So what is it? Was there a part of you that took the poison willingly? Or I don't even know if it was poison. Maybe he just strangled you and then...
Mr. Fleming, I don't believe that anyone would believe the word of a spirit, or that anyone outside of yourself believes in...
Oh, I wouldn't talk about the ghosts. This would all be research. Look at the newspaper accounts. Look at the fact that Mr. Ashworth was able to squeeze his way into getting all of your late husband's estate, that Mr. Ashworth was set to oversee Caroline's debut. It's not like I have to prove this in a court of law. I can just lay out my theory. It's not like you even have any descendants to get mad at me.
And you would sully your reputation by making such a baseless claim?
Unfortunately, unlike you, I don't have much of a reputation to consider. So, for the post, when Mr. Ashworth killed...
Mr. Fleming, I would ask that you not set forth this baseless rumor.
Well, you could always pass on. Then I wouldn't be as interested in your situation, would I?
So this is a threat then, Mr. Fleming.
If writing about an interesting piece of Gilded Age history is a threat, then...
And this is truly what you have reduced yourself to?
I mean...
I'm sure your parents must be proud.
Who knows with parents?
And if I pass on, you would give your word that you will not disperse this line of thinking?
Yes. Genuinely and sincerely, I will not write about it.
I suppose I should give my farewells to Bridget. I do hope that she maintains the mausoleum after my departure.
I'll give her your regards. Is there anything in particular you'd like to convey?
I feel like any sentiments I would give would be wasted on her. She is only the help, after all, loyal though she is. But do give her my thoughts.
Before you go, I really am curious what happened with Caroline and Mr. Ashworth.
Mr. Fleming, I do believe my patience for your questions has reached its end.
Understood.
I will say that to answer your... I was aware of what Mr. Ashworth was doing to me. Part of me thought that he would take the wine out of my hand at the last moment, that it was all... And when I drank it, I wondered if I deserved it. I knew that I had never wanted this. If everyone had simply done what they were expected to do, what I had... No matter. I believe I am ready, Mr. Fleming. I would not go so far as to say it was a pleasure.
Likewise, Mrs. Dotson. Mrs. Dotson. Passage completed. Bridget?
Yes, Mr. Fleming.
I hope that wasn't too difficult for you.
Oh, well, it's not exactly something you want to hear, is it?
No. No, it is not.
Still, your plan worked.
Not really my plan. You told me the type of person she was, and well, I'm a bit surprised it did actually work.
As am I.
She was a real asshole.
What's your language, Mr. Fleming?
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. I was never one to stand on propriety. Long as you don't take the Lord's name in vain.
I'll try not to.
And I thank you for it.
So, Mr. Ashworth...
A real asshole. If there's a hell, he's in it.
Ah.
Let's pray the widow Dotson doesn't join him.
Very generous of you.
I try.
So, would you like to...
I think I'd like to stay for a while, Mr. Fleming.
You don't have to...
I know I don't have to. And I know I don't have to maintain the mausoleum, but I would like some time to think. Some time that is completely and totally my own.
I understand.
I hope you do, Mr. Fleming. If you don't mind, I'll call on you. You should have some conversations that aren't part of your work.
Oh, thank you. I'd like that.
Ah, there it is again. Lovely, wouldn't you agree?
I would.
You've been listening to Conversations with Ghosts, a Dead Signals production. For complete cast and crew credits, check out our website at conversationswithghosts.com. Dead Signals is an independent operation, and we're supported by our patrons. If you like what you hear and want to support the work we do, Go to patreon.com/archive81 to sign up. You'll get a bunch of fun extras, including behind-the-scenes Q&As, music, and access to the first podcast Mark and I ever made together. That's patreon.com/archive81. As always, thanks for listening.